My name is Holly, or Sewing in Scottish, and I'm here today with a summer makes video, or basically what I made in July. I tend to only do unboxings or fabric hauls on this channel, and I decided it was high time I showed you what it is that I make and not just what it is that I spend my money on. So yeah, a July makes video. July was quite a productive month for me. I am still on holiday from uni. My partner is kind of mid mountain bike season, so he was away for most of July. And yeah, not a lot else on. Tour de France was on. 4 weeks of the Tour de France, that was a lot of sitting in front of my telly. But on the more dull days, they do happen. It's good to get in front of the sewing machine and have that on in the background. So yes, let me get into showing you what it is that I got up to. My first make for July was actually not even for me. It was for my other half, who celebrated a big birthday at the beginning of July, and I was full of big plans about what it was that I was going to make him. A coat. That didn't happen. I realised that I'd run out of time. And had to improvise with something that I'd made him before, with some fabric from the stash, and that is the Thread Theory Patterns Fairfield button-up shirt, which looks like this. It's just your typical classic men's shirt. Has all the features that a man shirt does. I'm going to be so good at describing these, just you watch. It comes in size range, is pretty good. It's extra small, which I think is a 36-inch chest, and goes up to a 4XL, which is a 50-inch chest. So yeah, not a bad wee size range. I made a large. It also comes in two variations on how you do the back. So you can have the straight back with a box pleat, or if you wanted more shaping, you can do fisheye darts, but I made just the straightforward, straight pleated back. The fabric that I used, you're not going to be able to find this anymore, I don't think. If you can, give me a shout, because I would quite like this for myself. I've had this in the stash for so long and never really known what to do with it, but I think it makes a really cute shirt. It was from the Samantha Claridge Boxing Day sale in 2020. It's strange the things you remember. But I got it sent over to Switzerland not that long after I'd started sewing. And I think it was pre-Brexit though, so things were still normal postage. But yeah, it's just sat in the stash for a year and a half, and I grabbed it, thinking, okay, he'll like that. He did. I ran into some issues with the fit of this one that I had made it. The previous one that I'd made for him was in a Robert Kaufman mammoth flannel. So quite thick, but it was more of a casual shirt that he would wear sort of over a t-shirt, sleeves rolled up, whereas this is obviously a bit more of a dressy shirt. And I guess I didn't think about how men wear their shirts, and that he wears a dressy shirt differently to a more casual shirt. And yeah, he would button it up. He wouldn't do the top button up, but he would button it up to here. And so when he tried it on, it's too small around the neck. That, yeah, because in a casual shirt he'd maybe only button up to here, you wouldn't notice. So that's a bit of a gutter really, because it doesn't fit. And it's something I'll need to bear in mind the next time I make it. He does like a slim fit shirt, so it fits pretty much perfectly everywhere else. I have lengthened the sleeves to accommodate his giant arms. But yeah, I may need to revisit the pattern and go up to an XL, at least around here, and either put the back darts in or do a bit of grading if it is a more casual shirt to get that slim fit over the hips. Unfortunately, I have another one of these cut out, and I cut it out, yeah, before I'd finished making this up and before he tried it on. It's not in quite a dressy fabric as this. It's not in, this is a quilting weight cotton, so it is quite stiff. The one that I have is a lighter weight cotton that I picked up from Fabric Godmother. That was just meant to be a lightweight shirt. Kind of casual that he would wear over a t-shirt. So it might still work, but it's just that thing once you know that something probably won't work, going back and having to sit there and sew up this thing that I'm struggling to find the motivation to do it. It has been on my list for all of August and I haven't gotten to it. But because it is a lightweight fabric, I guess I need to do it soon. The instructions for this are really good. You may notice the other mistake that I've made, and that is that my button placket is on the wrong side. It's on the same side as mine. I am not, it doesn't sink in with me which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side, and it's because I don't care. It's just a button-up shirt, but I know that for men's shirts it is a bit more important and I probably should pay attention. I get quite confused with the instructions for which side to construct the placket on, and I think I ran into that issue the first time I made this shirt. And despite it saying quite clearly on the pattern, you need to turn the pattern piece around so that the writing is facing the wrong side of your fabric. It says on the pattern piece, but I've made that mistake before, and I didn't have enough fabric to go back and correct it. So I just winged it and it is on the wrong side. The rest of the instructions for everything else are super clear, whether it's the yoke construction or collar construction. Doing flat felled seams, which was something that I'd never done before making this pattern. I found it just, yeah, really easy, holds your hand really well. And if you struggle with the written instructions, they have a really good picture tutorial on the Thread Theory website that leads you through step by step and breaks it down into really manageable chunks. So if you want to try a shirt pattern, give it a go. Don't be put off by my bad experience for this one because it was entirely my fault. Yeah, I really recommend it, and I really enjoy making it up. It's a really fun pattern to sew with lots of techniques that make you feel like you're an accomplished sewer. Yeah, I recommend. So the next thing I made in July was actually a skirt. And I am not really a skirt person, no matter how hard I try. And I do, from time to time, try. But when I saw the Chalk and Notch Evelyn skirt, I knew that this one was one that I would have to give a go. It's got a couple of variations. I will insert a line drawing here, so you can see what I'm on about. It has version A and version B are both button up. They have an asymmetric button placket with a waistband. And version C, which is the version that I made, is meant for a lighter weight fabric, and it doesn't have the buttons. It's just a pull on over your hips, elastic waist with a flat front and a nice big thigh slit. I will show you what I'm on about. This is the first version I made. I won't tell you where I got this fabric from because it was a bit of a disaster, if I'm being completely honest. And very early on into making this skirt, I realised that this was only ever going to be a toile, and it just got less and less wearable the more that I worked with it. It's a poly viscose blend, and it didn't look like this when it arrived, but it didn't wash very well, and it ironed, but it didn't iron very well, and the colours ran. I think I managed to get, yeah, I managed to make this out of bits that didn't have colour run, but yeah, it didn't behave itself. And then when it came to attaching the interfacing, I'm just trying to see if you can see it. No, you can't. When it came to attaching the interfacing, it just melted. So I don't know if it was the glue, the heat, excess heat from the glue that caused it to melt, because up to that point, just the iron on the fabric wasn't melting it. But as soon as you tried to iron interfacing on it, it sort of started to dissolve. So yeah, not the nicest fabric, but I really just wanted to see if the skirt was going to be something that I would wear. And yeah, it's lovely. The skirt itself is lovely. This version's horrible, but the skirt is beautiful. The size range is pretty decent. It comes in a size 0, which is a 35-inch hip, and goes up to a 30, which is a 59-inch hip. I've got that written down. And there's quite a lot of ease in the hip. I think there's about 3 inches. So whilst the measurements don't quite take you to the 60 inches, I think if you have a 60-inch hip, you could wear it, because yeah, there's quite a lot of ease in there. The main detail of this one is obviously this beautiful slit, and it comes quite high up the thigh, bit cheeky. I do have a picture of me in this one. I will insert it here. But yeah, it's just, I love the style of it. This one I think is going to go in the bin, which is a bit of a shame, because I love the print and I love the colour, this beautiful pink with the black and the white, and it was just, I had visions of wearing this with little, you know, like black or white tops, crop t-shirt. Just thought it would be a really good staple in the wardrobe, and it hasn't been the case, because it just doesn't look very good. I don't know if you can see, you probably can't. It doesn't look, it just looks like it hasn't been ironed, but I promise it has. And actually, the way the waistband is constructed in this pattern is maybe the only negative that I have, because it just tells you to sew down the waistband and finish the edge with either a zigzag or an overlocker, and it's really irritating in this fabric particularly. I think because of the poly content, it just irritates my skin. So I could only wear this if it was tucked in, if I had a t-shirt tucked into it, and I don't tend to do that very often. So yeah, had I paid attention and not been in such a rush to make my next version, I would have just pressed the waistband seam, the waistband under, and top stitched it down. But I was in such a rush to make this version, because I wanted to wear it out for dinner that night, that I didn't. I just stitched it down, and then it occurred to me much later. Same thing, Evelyn skirt. You can see the slit on this one really well. Flat fronted waistband, elastic back waist. I made a size 22 in the waist and graded out to a 24 in the hip, based off my hip measurement. And I think I could actually go to a 20 in the waist and still need to be a 24. Either that or pop some back darts in, because it's, yeah, the waist is pretty big on me, and I had to take off quite a lot of elastic off of the recommended amount that you need. It was massive, and I think I ended up going back a few times, chopping more off to try and get it right. But it is worth getting right, because it's a beautiful pattern that just, yeah, I think the button-up version isn't really for me, because you need a stiffer fabric, and I think if I'm going to wear a skirt, because I'm very pear-shaped, I much prefer something floatier that just sort of skims over the hips, and this version is perfect for it. So this fabric is a Mind the Maker viscose twill in this gorgeous mustard with this large scale leopard print, and I think this fabric is really going to be a good transitional piece, because yeah, although in the summer I've just been wearing it with like a black crop top, I think, you know, with tights and boots and maybe a little black sweater, this will do autumn very nicely. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I really like it. Maybe this is my skirt. Maybe this is the one. I will, yeah, open to revisiting this one for sure. So that is the Chalk and Notch Evelyn. And the next thing I made, I can't actually show you because I don't have it. It's in the wash. And actually, although I've made another one since then, I can't show you that either because that's in the wash. But yeah, take that as a bit of a good sign that it's very wearable. I will show you what I am talking about because I have the book right here. It is this, which is the Breton top from the Sewing Bee Modern Wardrobe book. This was basically why I bought this book, because they'd made the Breton top on the programme. And I thought, oh, I love the little detail of the buttons. You can see it better on this. It is just a boat neck t-shirt, 3/4 length sleeves, a little button up placket, and a wee stepped hem. The sizes in this book go from an 8, which is a 32.5 inch bust and a 35.5 inch hip, up to a 22, which is a 46.5 inch bust and a 49.25 hip. I'm outside these measurements, but like by an inch across the bust. But it's fine, it's negligible. It is a knit pattern, so yeah, there's enough ease in there that I can wear it quite comfortably. I'll insert a picture of the one that I made in July, which I made with a lovely cotton jersey that I got in my Beyond the Pink Door subscription box. It's beautiful. It was such a treat to get this, and yeah, I have worn it so much since I made it. I think it's just one of these pieces that you wear and it just slots in perfectly to your wardrobe. I had the one that I made on last week on yesterday when I went out for lunch with my mum, and she was like, I thought that just looks pot. I was like, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, it's quite hard to talk about because I don't have it to hand, so I can't really show you what I've done. If you want to see it in movement, you can watch my Think Pink unboxing from box 6 because I'm wearing it in that video and I talk about it a little bit there. Construction's pretty straightforward. The button placket I cheated because I'm not on the Sewing Bee and I don't need a functional placket. So I just stitched the buttons through, and I also left off the interfacing because I just feel like there's quite a lot going on and it makes quite a clunky seam. So you have 4 bits of fabric, 2 per placket, and then if you're interfacing all 4 bits of fabric, it becomes really chunky, and I just thought I don't want to add that weight on when I'm not even going to bother sewing the buttonholes. I don't think I made any other alterations. The only thing is they say to finish the neckband with twill tape. I used jersey tape just because that's what I had. And yeah, I really like it. And as I said, I've already gone back and made another one. I'm probably going to go back and make another couple because I just like the shape. I love that neckline. Both necklines are great. Just a way of, you know, adding a wee bit of interest to your t-shirts, I guess. Yeah, a great pattern, and I probably won't make anything else from that book because yeah, it's the only thing, well, it's the main reason that I bought it. But yeah, it really caught my eye and I love it. So the next thing that I sewed up in July is this bad boy. It is the Burda 6632. It is a wee blouse. I'll hold it still so you can have a look. I made this version, the sleeveless version, and I will show you the line drawings so you can get a better look at what was going on there. And it's that one that I made. So you can see you have the yoke with pleats on the front that are gathered into the yoke or pleated into the yoke. I have a separate neckband piece. I'll turn it around so you can see the back of the line drawing here. And you have, that's not going to focus very well, but pleats going into the back yoke. And my version looks like this. Isn't she pretty? I've never made a Burda pattern before, and it's largely because I'm not in the size range. I'm not even close to being in the size range. So you can see size range for this European, no you can't see because it's blurry, European 34 to 44, which basically goes up to a size 16. And I haven't been a size 16 for about 4 years. However, I saw this, I think Minerva sent, this was a couple of months ago, and Minerva sent through an email with 50% off their Burda patterns, and in the same email I think they had 10% off their Japanese fabrics. So I couldn't resist picking up this, which is a Nani Iro cotton lawn. I'm picking up little bits of thread. Cotton lawn in this beautiful cornflower blue colour, and it's got this tiny, I mean teeny tiny, tinier than Detsy print floral. That yeah, it just really seems to suit the delicate cotton lawn really well, I thought. You can see, you can't see actually because it's a bit crinkled. We've got pleats here, pleats on the back. Everything inside is French seamed. Everything goes into the yoke and the shoulders, so your pleats here, everything's neat and tidy. The only thing that's not French seamed is the neckline, because I had a hard enough time trying to figure out the neckband on this without adding French seams into the mix. You can see I've got a little Rosy Cheeks label. It is perfect, made in me time. I love when that happens, when you just find a label in your stash that matches perfectly. It's an extra level of happiness, let's just say. But yeah, I really love this. Absolutely love it. The sizing wasn't an issue. I had intended to add a little bit onto the hips when I was cutting it out, and I sliced into it and realised I hadn't added anything onto the hips, and I was gutted because I honestly thought it wasn't going to fit. But actually it's pretty massive. I'll insert a pic in so you can see there is plenty of room in this. You can actually see from the pictures on the cover as well, there is so much ease that the sizing was pretty negligible, as long as it was going to fit around the chest, which it pretty much does. It's not perfect, and I think the fact that it's pleated accentuates that. I know that boobs and pleats are not the best friends. I have learned from experience, and yet I haven't learned from experience. But yeah, it's a really pretty top, and I think it's just a good one to have in the wardrobe. It's not my usual style at all, neither the fabric or the style of the blouse, and I think it could lean quite conservative. I would like to make it again. I think if I do make it again, I'll get that neckline quite a bit lower, and I may take out the pleats and replace the pleats with gathering, at least on the shoulders, if not the back, because yeah, I just think it would help the boob situation, let's just say. I really just wanted to sew with a Burda pattern, because I think I hear a lot of people in the sewing community talking about Burda patterns. They're not the easiest to sew with, and I just wanted to give it a go so I could see what everybody else is talking about. I didn't find it too bad. Even the neckband construction didn't really make a lot of sense to me when I was reading through it, but as soon as I had the pattern pieces and I started taking it step by step, it made a lot more sense, as opposed to just reading ahead and going, I don't know. Yeah, really taking it step by step helped. It is a really nice pattern. I would say if you're on the smaller size range, I know 34 I guess is an 8, is it? I don't know. 8, maybe a 6. I mean, I'm a 20/22 in UK shopping, so if I'm fitting into the 16, yeah, maybe beware at the smaller end of things, it may drown you. But yeah, very pretty, and not too difficult to sew up. We'll revisit perhaps. Oh, it also doesn't take up a lot of fabric. I had 1.5 meters, and Nani Euro fabric I think is only 1 meter wide, but I had no issue getting it all out of all of this. I didn't have enough to cut it out again after I missed adding some onto the hip, but then it turned out I didn't need to, so a success. The next thing I sewed up may look familiar to you. I wonder if you've sewn up one this summer as well. It is the saltwater slip. Not my first rodeo with the saltwater. I made 2 last summer and I was really pleasantly surprised by how much I liked them, because I didn't think I would like them. I didn't think they'd be particularly flattering. But I ended up wearing them tons. They just slotted into my wardrobe really well. And I like that you can either dress it up or make it really casual, depending on how you style it. I know last summer I went to a mountain bike race in Italy for my summer holiday, and I wore them tons. So even in the casual environment of a mountain bike race, where everyone was walking about in cycling kit, I was all right. I didn't feel overdressed in my Saltwaters. When all my summer clothes arrived from Switzerland, it was them that I made a beeline for. And even though it wasn't quite warm enough, just having them layered over t-shirts, just love it. So yeah, I knew that I wanted to make another one. And I picked up this Atelier Brunette viscose in the Granito colourway, chestnut Granito. So it's chestnut base colour with beige and cream and raspberry coloured splodges. And yeah, it's lovely. I love this colour combination. I love the raspberry with the rust, because these are colours that I love individually, maybe my favourites, but I would never think of having them together. So having them together in this is really nice. Fairy Pattern Company patterns size ranges are amazing. Extra small is a 34-inch hip, and it goes up to your 7X, which is a 62-inch hip. I made the XXL in the bust with this CD cup as opposed to the BC cup, and it's graded out at the hip to 1X. I was afraid that when these showed back up I wouldn't fit into them. I think I probably could get away with doing a 1X all over now, because yeah, I think most of the weight that I've put on in the last year is chest. But yeah, the ones that I made last year still fit fine, so I just couldn't be bothered cutting out another pattern, so I stuck with it. And then the theme of couldn't really be bothered, Atelier Brunette do their own bias binding to match every single fabric that they have, which is amazing. And it would be foolish not to take advantage of that. So the main fabric I bought from Love Crafts, because they stock some Atelier Brunette fabrics, and I always seem to have a 20% off code for them, always. And then, yeah, once I remembered that Minerva had the binding, I went and bought 4 meters of that. I think it was 4 meters I bought. It might have been 3. But either way, it worked out to be the perfect amount to do your neck binding, your adjustable straps, and your side ties. The only thing that's a bit different about this one is Atelier Brunette fabric is not very wide. It's only 130 centimetres wide, and I only bought 2 meters of it. So with the XXL, I think how much fabric you use really depends on how wide it is, because you can get the side pieces, get the body pieces side by side on wider fabrics, but on your 130 centimetre it didn't really work out. So I ended up chopping quite a bit off the bottom. I think it was 5 inches maybe, so I could just fit it all on. So it is a little bit shorter, and the hem is not, I can't remember how deep the hem is on the other ones, but I mean it's tiny, 1.5 centimetres hem on this. And it comes to mid-calf as opposed to the ankle, but actually I quite like it finishing at that length. And I may make another one that length. I really wanted to make a short one this summer as well. I haven't gotten round to it, and I'm guessing I'm not going to. I'm guessing that ship has sailed for this summer. But yeah, this saltwater slip. It's really clear why everyone loves it. I love it. Didn't expect to love it. And yeah, I think I'll get a bit more wear out of this just by throwing it over a t-shirt, or maybe not tights, but a t-shirt. So the next thing that I sewed up in July was this, and that is the Anari T-shirt dress by Named Clothing. I made the dress version, and I made it in this fabric. It was just a pattern that I'd been really curious about for a really long time, even though with critical thinking applied, boxy t-shirt dresses are probably not the best thing for me. And yes, making it kind of confirmed that. It's a really clever design actually. I really like how hers looks on the cover. Really cute little mini dress. It did not quite work out as mini on me. It sort of has a boat neckline that is meant to be finished with a facing, but I kind of cheated a bit and just finished with jersey binding. You've got your little cuff sleeves, stepped hem, asymmetric hem. I'm looking at it like this, like you can see. And a wee side split. And actually the side seams kind of curve forward a bit to really accentuate that split in the hem, and it sits really nicely over the hips as a result. But I think a large part of my issue with this is the fabric that I made it in, which is this lilac cotton jersey that I got in my So Hailey Jane box from April. And yeah, I'm just not sure what it is about this fabric. I can't really get jammies out of my head when I see it, and I think I should have probably just made jammies. But I didn't. I made a dress, or a night dress, as it turned out, because when I first tried this on, it absolutely swamped me, and yeah, I felt like I was just wearing a hospital gown. It's not the kind that tie in the back, but the kind that someone buys you for when you're going into hospital, that are maybe a bit more covered up than your usual jammies would be. That was the case for me in this. I'll insert a pic so that you can see how it looks. It's a bit of a strange one really. I think it's not helped. I think the whole jammy vibe, hang on, let me show you. These are my slippers. So when I'm walking about the house in my slippers, I always have them on. In this dress, I just feel exactly like I'm going to my bed. Like your Christmas pyjamas. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. And I think it's just a bad fabric dress combination. I think the silhouette of this on me is maybe not the best thing, but I think the silhouette of this with such a colourful and bright fabric is just maybe, yeah, it just kind of misses the mark a bit for me, I think. I would probably like this dress more in a sort of viscose jersey, darker colourway, maybe something khaki, and I've gone the opposite. I've gone full pastel, not childish, but yeah, bit of a strange one really. So no, I won't be wearing this tons. It does actually look really cute with white trainers and a denim jacket over the top. It does look very nice, and I will wear it like that. I just need to get away from the lilac slippers, I think. And the pattern itself, I mean, this Named Clothing have a really great size range. UK 4, which I think is a 30-inch bust, goes up to UK 28, which is a 52 3/4 bust. And I do like the way that their clothes fit me, kind of. The trouble I have is they drown me. And as I said, I'm 5'7", I am not short. And I had a feeling that they were drafted for 5'9", 5'10", but they're not. I think it's either 5'7" or 5'8". So I shouldn't be having the issues with the length that I do. But I ended up having to take off about 4 inches again from this to get it. It's not as short as hers. it just isn't. But to get it above the knee, I had to take about 4 inches off. One thing that I love about it is how it fits over the bust. I think the fit over the bust is just perfect. And so, whilst I may not love the dress, I'm going to revisit this pattern in the t-shirt version. Yeah, just because it sits so nicely that I think the t-shirt would make a really cute addition. Little cropped boxy tee, either long sleeved or with the cuff sleeves, I think would look really cute. Yeah, excited to do the tee, but probably won't make the dress again, if I am being completely honest. Yes. When I traced this out, I was so set on making the dress, I didn't even trace the t-shirt off. So now I'm going to have to go back and do that, but I am going to go back and do that. You might see that in a September makes video, the t-shirt. So, the last thing that I made in July, we have come to the end, finally. I don't know how many things that was. That was 8 things that I made in July. I made this, and it is the Polyness Cami dress. I made this version. You can see the line drawings here. You can see my doctor's appointment on this side. Taking notes. I made this version. So it is just a straight cut bodice into a gathered skirt, button placket all the way down the front, short sleeves, and just your nice wee collar. I left off the boob pocket because I'm not a boob pocket person. The other version is this one, which has back darts and waist darts, and is more fitted in. It doesn't have the buttons all the way down. It has your 3/4 sleeves with a cuff, and it finishes with an invisible zip. But yeah, just wanted to make this version. Size range of Polyness patterns is not the best. €34, which is a 31.5 inch bust, to €52, which is a 47.25 inch bust, and 47.5 inch bust. That's fine. The hip and waist measurements on this is pretty negligible, because there's no because there's no shaping around the waist. It's pretty just straight, and then your gathered skirt. I made it as a 12 because I am on the quest for a perfect shirt dress, and I am still on that quest. I regret to say I made this version, which is with a poly cotton that I picked up from Pound Fabrics for £2.50 a metre. It's actually lovely. The colours in this are so beautiful that it's a really nice print. I mean, a Rifle Paper Company would probably have a good case for suing whoever made this. But yeah, it's a lovely print. I am not the biggest fan of poly cotton, I won't lie, although there is a lot to be said about the fact that I can just scrunch this up and look at it, nothing happens. It does not crease. Yeah, just a lovely vibrant print. I also have the black version of this. I think I bought 4 meters of this, and I bought 4 meters of the black version, which I haven't made yet. And it's just to kind of try and get the perfect shirt dress, the perfect fitting shirt dress. No, it's not it. I think the issue is, well, there's quite a lot of issues actually. It looks gorgeous from the front, and I'll include pics and you can see what for yourself. It looks really nice from the front, especially in the sun. All those colours really pop. However, when I turn to the side, I look like I am a ship who is about to launch. It is the strangest shaped dress I've ever worn. And I think it is because, well, I didn't do a full bust adjustment, and I should have, because this is just a B cup and I'm not a B cup. I thought I'd cheat it I thought I'd try and take the easy way out, and I added a bit of length on to the front and back, but then I added some more length onto the front, and I shouldn't have. I should have left the back and just added the length onto the front. But yeah, it just kind of gives this, how can I describe it? It sort of skims the boob and then just sort of ski slopes off the boob. Yeah, into the sort of, you know, those Renaissance era hip majigs, the really wide hip. It's sort of like that, but the other way around. It is terrible. I'm gutted because it's so cute from the front. I don't understand how from the front it can be so cute and from the side be a complete disaster. Yeah, I may not give up on this because I love the way it buttons all the way down the front. I love that. We may see. I think if I had, it definitely starts somewhere. Waist starts perhaps might solve the issue of the ski slope boob. That might be the one. I might also get on better making this version. The only thing is the finished garments for this, the finished garment waist is 40 inches and I'm 42. So it would need a bit of fiddling, I guess, to get it right. And I wonder if there is a way that I could do the button bracket so that I wouldn't have to put in an invisible zip, do the buttons all the way down like this one, because I really like that. Yeah, it is a nice it is a nice pattern. It's just, I think it's drafted for not my body type. And we get a bit spoiled these days, I think, with having different bust cups and things. And yeah, it is one of those things that at this point, do you waste your time, or is it a waste of time? Trying to make a pattern fit you when there are so many options that are drafted with you in consideration these days. Yeah, I am tackling the Anari dress currently. That is what is currently on my sewing table. And that does, I think, the size I'm doing is drafted for a D cup as opposed to a B cup. So that may make a difference. You may see this again. It may become, if I get on better with a Lyra bodice, there may be some sort of hybrid mashup going on. I am not giving up on the quest for the perfect shirt dress. Even as it comes into winter, I'm going to find it. And I'm prepared to work for it. Definitely, I think, this one. So yeah, that's me. That's what I made in July. Not a bad month, all things considered. Yeah, nothing issue free, but when is it ever? I'm going to go away. I'm going to start editing this and try and gather together some pictures so that you can see what they look like on. I'm going to try and not leave it so long because this is the 2nd of September and I'm sitting here doing a July makes video. It's not ideal. I will not leave it so long to do an August makes video, which I didn't make quite as much things in August, I don't think, so it shouldn't be quite as daunting. Thanks for watching. If you have stuck it out this far, let me know if you've made any of the patterns that I've shown. And I will hopefully be seeing you again soon. Have a great week. Oh, it's Friday, so have a great weekend. Friday afternoon. Yeah, have a belter.